Greetings and welcome to another episode of Unique Conversations. I'm your host, Reggie Jenkins. And today's guest is a special guest of mine, sister in the struggle, trying to save our young people, Mrs. Laschinski Emerson. Laschinski, how you doing today?
All is well. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. It may be afternoon, evening by the time somebody else see this thing.
Well, that's true.
So we starting out 2020 in a good way. So how's everything going with you?
All is going well. I can't complain. Like you say, it's 2020. We got to hit the ground running so we can continue to make a positive impact.
Yes. So let's give everybody a brief introduction of who you are, your title, where you're from, things of that sort.
Okay, Laschinski Emerson, originally from Jackson, Mississippi. I've been in Knoxville. In a few months, it'll be almost 30 years. I can't believe it. Almost 30 years.
Okay.
Married to Gary Emerson for 32 years, and I have a 27-year-old son, Justin Emerson.
Cool.
Chemistry brought us here.
Okay.
My husband and I. We're both chemists by trade. Came to Oak Ridge back in 1990 to work. And so that's how we got to the Knoxville area, Oak Ridge, Knoxville.
Okay. So both of you all are engineers, or both of you all are chemists? I'm sorry.
Both of us are chemists. We went to school at Alcorn State University, HBCU. Have to put that plug in for my HBC. Yes.
So. Okay. So you're originally from Jackson, Mississippi. Do you have any siblings?
Only child.
Only child.
I am an only child. Yes.
Okay. So what was it like growing up in Jackson, Mississippi? For you and whatever.
Well, in the 60s and 70s, it's pretty rough. I mean, we had a lot of racial tension going on.
Okay.
But we made it through the struggle, and really because Jesus was on our side and protected us. But I got a really good education. I had awesome parents. They were educators in the city, actually in the Carthage area, which is right outside of Jackson, Mississippi.
Okay.
But I had an awesome upbringing. They were the type of people who always had somebody at the house. They always were reaching out, trying to make sure my dad, the boys knew how to be men. They knew how to fix stuff, work on stuff. Mom was that you need to know how to sew, clean, take care of a household, that kind of thing. So even though there was nobody at our house, like a sibling, on the weekends, it was always, our house was an open door for the kids in the community.
So your mother and father were like teachers?
Yes, my daddy taught vocational. He taught agricultural classes and mechanics classes.
Okay.
And my mother, for 20 years, she was a dietitian and she taught the home ec classes.
Okay.
And then she transitioned to be a librarian. So when I was in high school, she was my high school librarian.
Ain't that something? So your mom was working where you was going to school. You didn't get away with nothing.
Didn't get away with nothing.
That is cool. I find it interesting that we lack those two trades a lot in schools nowadays. Your father with the vocational trade. It's a shame that we don't have as many schools that have that. And then the dietitian, those home ec classes. I remember taking home ec in middle school, where they taught me how to cook. I did a little sewing and all that kind of woodworking and all that stuff. So it's a shame the children coming up today, a lot of them are missing that ingredient because, as you well know.
It's good work. I mean, it needs to be brought back, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Because, trades is where it is.
Yep.
We can talk about that, college versus trade. Yep. We need to encourage trade.
Yep. And so your parents was also like community parents. They just took in a lot of, was it the students or the kids in the neighborhoods or what?
It was the students at the school, which were the kids in the neighborhood. At that particular time, the kids, all the kids that lived in the projects went to my school.
Okay.
And half my life, our house was in the middle of where the projects were.
Okay.
So my parents mentored their parents as well as the kids.
Okay. Cool.
So it was always like an open door to go to the Tillis home.
That's cool. That's cool. So your educational experience, elementary, middle school, and high school, you was pretty much good student throughout the whole time. Well, you had no choice. You had educators. So.
I didn't have a choice, but I wanted to be. Yeah, I was a good student all the way throughout. I was our high school valedictorian, class of 19.
That's cool.
Yes.
That's cool. That's cool. So how did you want to be a chemist? How did that come about?
I think in middle school, I was just always tinkering with stuff, mixing stuff together, just wanting to see what would happen. And then I was more into research. I wanted to create something or help a problem. So it kind of started early. Okay. And I just kept going with that. And then my high school chemistry teacher, really, he was an awesome guy and really encouraged me.
What was his name?
Ben Johnson.
Well, you shout out to Mr. Johnson if you're still around, but I know it's if him or his family. So we gotta shout out those people who helped us.
Right. So. Yes. Yeah. He was instrumental in getting me the tools that I needed to be able to go and be successful at Alcorn and be successful then, at the Oak Ridge National Laboratories.
So you graduated and then you decided to go to Alcorn. Was that your first choice, your only choice?
That was not my first choice. Because of my ACT score and my grade point average, I got a lot of offers. Uh-huh. And originally I was going to go to Berkeley in California because at the time they had the best chemistry department. And I had a lot of family. My mom had a lot of siblings out there. Okay. And I wanted to go. And I think because of a lot that I had, the struggle that I had been through, a lot of racial stuff that I had gone through, I decided I'm going to a historically Black college and university. My parents went to Alcorn State, both of them, a lot of uncles and aunts, and they're very successful people. And so we checked out the chemistry department. It was a great department. They had lots of opportunities, grant opportunities with NASA. And so I just said, I'm staying home and I'm going to be a legacy, be an Alcornite.
That's cool. That is great. That's great. And so you met your husband at Alcorn State. What year?
I met my husband at Alcorn, second semester of my freshman year. Okay. I didn't know it was going to turn out this way because I just told him, I said, man, you talk too much. And anybody that interrupt my sleep, I don't know. But as time went on, we grew closer together and fell in love with each other. And here we are 32 years later, still together.
That's great. That's great. So tell me why, just on a side note, HBU experience, why is that so important? Because I think a lot of parents and our children need to hear more stories about why, children and people should send their children to the HBCUs.
Everybody at an HBCU, from the custodial staff all the way up to the president, want you to succeed. And they will do any and everything that they can in their power to help you to succeed. It's almost like you do have parents away from home. It's a family. Yeah. Most of the schools are not really big schools. I mean, some of them are, they may have 10,000 students, which is, pretty big, down to a couple of thousands of students. So you go there and you meet lifelong friends. You can go to your professors and your advisors and talk to them about personal things that you're going through to get advice. They end up being like family counselors as well as helping you in your academics. And it just, I love going back to homecoming, seeing the professors, seeing all of my classmates, people that I pledged with, my sorority sisters and all of that, because it's one big, it's just one big family unit where everybody's helping everybody.
That's great. That's great. That's great. So you graduated and you graduated in chemistry. Did y'all go straight to Oak Ridge or y'all did something in between there or what?
No, my husband was a chemist at a cosmetic company in Meridian, and I went on to grad school. I started out at the USM, the University of Southern Mississippi. Okay. And then after I got married, it was a shorter distance to drive so I could finish my master's. So I transferred everything back to Alcorn. And so I finished my master's there, and I couldn't find a job in chemistry in Mississippi at the time.
Okay.
So I taught school.
Okay.
I taught chemistry actually at my husband's old high school.
Cool.
So, and then after that, I did that for 3 years, and then the opportunity came about for both of us to become chemists at Oak Ridge.
So you got your undergraduate degree in chemistry, and what's your master's in?
It's in science education.
Okay.
Yes.
Cool. And so y'all moved to Oak Ridge National Laboratory, and you worked. Oh, I'm sorry. Did you work at Oak Ridge National Laboratory?
I worked at Watts Webb and K25 plant.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. And Gary worked where?
He worked at both places, K25 and Watts Webb. He started at K25 and he finished at Watts Webb.
And so you was a chemist at K25, right?
Yes.
Okay. And then how long did you do that?
At K25, I was there a couple of years, and then I transferred over to the Analytical Services Organization at Y12.
Okay. And how long did you do that?
I did that up until 1998.
Okay.
And I took, I guess what you call maybe early retirement. They had some benefits and things out there because I was led to do something different.
Okay. And so in 98, well, was that when you transitioned to your nonprofit?
That is when that's when it actually started. The vision came to me, and it came to me 3 times. And it's one of those things, Lord, you really must have a sense of humor if you want me to start working with kids and their families, because that's what my parents did. And I said, that's not me. I'm gonna do something different. I'm gonna stick to chemistry. But that just kept coming at me. And so what I did, I taught chemistry and biology at Grace Christian Academy and Christian Academy of Knoxville. Now, I wanted to teach in the public school, but the state of Tennessee would not honor my Mississippi teaching certificate. They would not reciprocate it. And they wanted me to go back and get a master's and go through the whole process. And I'm like, no, I don't have time for that.
I don't blame you.
And the money, taking off work and student teaching, I've already done that. Yep. So I got the teaching experience, and then I started to tutor.
Yep.
Just for free, just helping out where I could in churches. People would come to me, and then it grew into I knew that I needed to start a nonprofit. I knew that East Knoxville would be my home, or the foundation for that, and we've grown from there. So that's how I kind of got into the nonprofit world.
Now you started first of all, let's backtrack because we never stated your title, who you are now. So ask who you are now.
Yes,
so who are you now?
Executive Director, founder of A1 Learning Connections, the SMART Institute. And SMART stands for Science, Math, Art, Reading, and Technology.
Cool. We should have took care of that in the beginning, but that's okay. It's all good. So when did you start the SMART Institute? When did that was born?
The SMART Institute, now A1 Learning Connections really got going really 2002.
Okay.
This for-profit, going out tutoring. I had, contracts with learning centers at Christian schools, individuals. Okay. And then 2010 is when my nonprofit status was approved.
Okay.
And we actually started with the SMART Institute. So we've been going for almost 10 years as far as the SMART Institute and the nonprofit part.
See, that's another story, because you started in 2002. I started my nonprofit in 2003.
Okay. Wow.
We got our nonprofit status in 2008. So we right there.
Right there together.
Mm-hmm.
Right there.
So when you started in 2002, did you automatically go to the East Knoxville, or did you stay in the area you were in, just working with the kids you had? How did that?
I was working with the kids that I had, and many of them were on the east side of Knoxville.
Okay.
And I continued that, and I continued to do that at no cost.
Okay.
And I think the thing that really pulled me to actually, and I really realized what God really wanted me to do, when you're working with two demographics, one's paying, one's not paying,
Yeah.
and you see that the ones that are paying really deserve uh, all that you can give to them, and they desire all that you can give to them. My heart was just really pulled to go toward the people who desire it, they need it, and they can't afford it.
Yeah.
So there's got to be a mechanism that we can be able to, to be able to help them.
Yeah.
And so then that's when I was introduced to a 21st century grant.
Okay.
And that was, and then the Lord said, your source of income is going to come in the form of an email. That source of income is going to be in that email. It's going to come through in 3 days. And it came. And I mean, I only had 3 weeks where everybody's been knowing about it for maybe a year. Yeah. Or they know that it's coming up and they're preparing. I had 3 weeks to get it all together, and got it all together. And it was really the beginning of having nonprofits in East Knoxville or in the Knoxville area to get these kinds of grants, because they normally go to school systems.
Yep.
To the local schools would have their after school programs. And so
wouldn't it go to the schools and the big outfits too, who already been established, 50
yes, they go to the big outfits, the national organizations that we know, or they go to the schools. Okay. And so 2010 was that era where the director says, we need to try some of our smaller nonprofits to see, because in our area, they had not done much of that in 2010.
Yeah. So
they entrusted us with the funds, and we've been receiving those funds ever since.
Cool. So you created your nonprofit. You started in 2010. You started in East Knoxville. And for those who don't know, East Knoxville is where predominantly Black population lives in Knoxville, Tennessee. So, how difficult was it? What were some of your struggles beginning in 2010 and trying to, not only recruit students, you got the funding, but faculty trying to get the people to, the staff to help you and stuff like that. So elaborate on those things.
That you hit on a lot of points. When you get the funds, the State Department will give you funds, and you're expected to serve a certain number of students. So you have to go out there and you recruit, because these students have been going other places. Yeah. And some of them may have been happy with where they were going. So being able to go out to the open houses, get on the radio, do what was need to be done to try to say, hey, we're the Smart Institute. This is what we have to offer. We really want you to come, and get some parent buy-in as well. One other thing we had to do was really to talk to the principals and administrators, because here is a nonprofit that they had not heard of that wants to come to their school, and that's their babies. And we got these, you got strangers coming in wanting to take care of our babies. So being able to get them to listen to us and to trust us, to go in. And of course, you have to have a place, and we have always been at the school doing our work. Is where our base or our home is, the school. Finding dependable people. We don't pay a lot. Yeah. And you really got to be compassionate, because you're going to have kids that are going to do what you say on the first ask, and you're going to have kids that are going to challenge you. Yep. And you got to have people that are going to be able to handle that, master that, and be able to manage it, all. And so we were really, when I say blessed, that's just, I don't even know another word other than just favored and blessed to be able to talk with the principals they say, yes, come on in. It's just something about it that's different that we need. It's just something about you that we like. And some of the teachers that we had starting in 2010, we still have. The only reason that they may not be with us is they moved.
Yeah.
We had one retired teacher who left because her kids started having grandbabies and she started to keep the kids, that kind of thing. But or we may have added a new class and we needed a new a new instructor. There's just been really twice in the 10 years that I've had to release somebody. And that was more because of not being available, when we contractually needed you. So that in itself, when you can be able to take care of your location, get the buy-in from the administration, and have good teachers, you can go from there. I know other organizations where it's just like a revolving door every month or so. Truly every year is almost like their staff is different. It's just so much turnover, and we've just been blessed not to.
Well, I think the thing of it is a testimony to you. You don't want to pat yourself on the back, but I will. It's a testimony to you because you got to have the right head for the body to follow. Oftentimes you got people, first of all, you're in it for the right reason, y'all. Everybody, when they meet you and see you, they know your heart is in it. And they know, and then you're very intelligent, you know what you're doing, you're organized. And so that a lot of those things, fall in your favor. So when you want to get something, you a particular type of person or whatever, you usually fall in that place, because, we both know, we see other organizations, and, we both had growing pains. And, this, like you said, you started in 2002. You actually started in Jackson, Mississippi when you was teaching, so people don't look at it like that,
Right.
That fire started burning way back then, and you just came up to this particular point. Mm-hmm. And then you had corporate experience, you've been around, you got a master's degree. So all those things led up to the you of today. And, people can see that. People can see, and then, you're no nonsense, your business. And so let me ask this one other question. What was your screening process as far as selecting, whether it be teachers, volunteers, that kind of thing, for other nonprofits who may be listening?
Well, we, of course, had the interview process. Of course, everybody has to be background checked, and you have to go through that scrutiny, making sure that, you're clean in that area, especially when it comes to our children. Yeah. And just sitting in, and I have key questions, that I ask in scenario types, because I let people know that come in, our children, just like we are not perfect. They need help. They're going to challenge us. We're going to have to stay on top of it. Are you up for the challenge? Are you up for coming in, and regardless of what's been going on in your life, to put that aside to work with these kids for 2 hours, 2.5 to 3 hours every single day? And I tell them up front, it's not going to be an easy task. Yeah. You're going to have kids that are going to challenge you. You're going to have parents that are going to challenge you. But what we've got to get them to see, you got to buy into the model. Our model is excellence without excuses. So you have to come in and be excellent every time you come, because we're expecting excellence from our kids every time that they come. And that's a building process. Because, when you start out, sometimes the kids want to play. Well, it's after school. We're supposed to just play. Well, I realize it's after school and you've been in school all day. And you are going to have some time within your clubs and classes to play. However, this is the mission. This is what we've got to get done. So you have to have that buy-in on the front end to say, this is what we're about. This is our mission. These are our goals for these kids. These are our goals for our families. Are you willing to undertake that? Because it is not a babysitting service. So with the, interview process, checking references, the background check. That is how we get our teachers. Our students come. The counselors may recommend, teachers may recommend, parents can, of course, recommend. And some kids just say, hey, I want to take this class, not realizing, everything that's going to come with it. And so they will self-select. Hey, I want to go to Smart Institute because I want to sew. And then they get in and they start coming not once a week, maybe twice or 3 times a week. And so the teachers, we meet with them and we meet with the administrators at the beginning. We let them know what we're teaching. We let them know how our tutoring and our homework help process is going to work, and suggest kids to come. They can come for just the homework help. Now we have it, you can't go to club unless you do tutoring and homework. You have to have a structured time, at least 45 minutes if you're reading or just writing, if you don't have anything. And they understand that up front. And then they know, well, we got to get that done and succeed in that before we can go to our club class. So that's kind of how we.
Now, how many days a week do you all meet?
4 days a week, right after school to 6 o'clock.
So
Monday
4 to 6?
It's 3:30, 3:30 till 6.
Okay.
3:30 to 6, Monday through Thursday.
And how many schools do you have?
We have 2 schools for our middle school and high school students. We have Austin East Magnet High School and Vine Middle Magnet School. And then we have also a retooling for adults now. Focusing in on, everybody, but including our refugees and our immigrants.
Oh, that's cool. That's great. That's great. That's great. So what are some of the, you talked about it, but what are some other difficulties you face keeping the organization going, maybe with the parents or the students that you faced over the years?
Sometimes I feel like we have to refresh the memory of our parents, because a lot of them may, use us as a babysitting service. My child needs to stay somewhere until I can come and pick them up, whether it's work or whatever is going on. But at the same time, when we look at grades, with the grant that we have, we need to pull up grades. We struggle all across this country, and Knoxville is no exception, with math and our reading. Our kids are behind. We can only do so much in our after school program. So we have to push and say, as parents and guardians of these children, and a lot of times it's not their moms and dads that are raising them. It's grandmas, great grandparents, it's uncles and aunts. Some of them are in foster care. And so, we try to show them, with your goals and dreams that you have that are lofty, the only way that you can reach those is that you're going to have to do some extra stuff. You got to do extra in reading. You got to do extra in writing. You got to get these math skills up. Our kids are wanting, our high school kids, the ACT, and I know you know about this because you have an amazing ACT program. You got to get some help. You just can't just go and take this test like it's a test in your high school class and think that you're going to do well. There's techniques about that, and getting parents to say, you need to come, you need to come to these classes, and then getting parents to come to some of the classes that we have that will help them with parenting, that will help them with connecting to their school day, will help them. Let's give you resources that you can use at home to help your child. And maybe even help themselves, because a lot of them want to go back to school, themselves. And so, a challenge of, we're going to try to do our part. Let us help you in, doing your part, because it truly takes a village. The schools cannot do everything, and they were not equipped or designed to just do everything and provide the kids with everything that they need. It does start at home, and you have school, and you have programs like ours that you can go to, and other resources that you can get to try to help, the that family unit to be solid when it comes to education, and have education as a priority.
Yes.
It's got to be a high priority. It can't just be always sports.
Say that again. Say that again.
So it's not, your student can be a student athlete, but
student first
comes first. Yes. And it's just, you got to keep thinking about that. And I have shown a resource that you provided with the athletes, the professional athletes, how many of them go and how many are left.
Yeah.
What's your plan A? What's your plan B?
Yes.
Because what we're trying to do is to really equip these kids for life after high school, whether it's whatever kind of post-secondary education, not just the educational part of that, but relationships, your mental health, your physical health, your finances, a total package. And to be able to buy into that and not just be so consumed on something that may not provide you with what you think is going to be like that NFL or NBA.
Let's cut to the chase. Something that's not realistic for 99%.
Something that's not realistic.
Not realistic.
Education, your knowledge, you cannot take it away. It's power. You always going to have, and you can take that knowledge and start your own business and be a good employee if you go to work for somebody. All those skills can allow you to progress up and be a productive citizen. Let's just not settle for something that's probably not going to be fruitful like you think it may be fruitful. So,
and I think going back to the parents, I think it's like, it's a judgment, for lack of a better word, of the American public school system. The fact that you have a grandparents who didn't achieve, a lot of them didn't achieve academically, and then their children didn't achieve academically. Now we're dealing with their children. And because the parents, because oftentimes I've talked to principals and teachers about this, is because as a parent, if I don't have a lot of confidence in myself as far as academics, education, if I was traumatized in school or I didn't perform well, I don't generally do well in interacting with my child's teachers, administrators, schools. So I kind of shun that stuff,
Right.
Seeing with a lot of our parents, they don't like it's like, they get anxiety by dealing with, parent teacher conference and that kind of thing.
Right.
And so we have to help our parents. And I'm glad that, Smart Institute, A1 Learning Center, and it's a key ingredient that we're missing as far as servicing the parents. A lot of times our programs focused on the children, but we need to help our parents too, because they're the key cog in the wheel.
Right. And, it has to be a 2-generational approach. It has to be the parent and the kid, and then them working together, because sometimes the student can empower the parent, like the parent is to empower the student to be that strong family unit. And I mean, Reggie, we have real talk. I mean, I tell them, I said, we got to break these generational curses. There's a lot of generational curses that are over our families, whether it's finances, whether it's education, and the list can go on, and that can stop. And you got to believe that you can break this. And that's kind of what I was, when you're thinking of working with anybody, you look to see where are the improvements that are needed. And one is education. We've got to stop that cycle to say, if I can get her out of high school, I've done great. No. That's just the beginning. That's just that foundation to go post-secondary, whether it's a trade school, the military, 4-year, 2-year college, or whatever it is. We got to think past that, because then that education is going to help break that generational cycle of poverty too, because you're making some money. You're not just settling for minimum wage or whatever you can get. And so even trying to empower the parents to go back and take some classes.
Especially in the state of Tennessee, when you can go to 2-year school for free.
Yes, that reconnect and get,
Yeah.
get busy, for free. And I've been encouraging our students, they think, well, going to a 2-year college means that I was kind of slow in high school. And so they're just kind of taking me in. And I said, you need to get past that stigma,
Yeah.
because you get quality education at Pellissippi and Rome State
Yes.
in these community colleges around, and it's free.
Yeah.
You keep the, grade point up, and it's free.
And they have a lot of great programs at Pellissippi. I know the audio production. They got several programs. That I know a young lady. She's going to do soundboard, sound engineering, and stuff.
Okay.
And they have a program for that. So
right.
they have to. And then the children, we have to realize. Our children have to realize. Because I used to work for Pellissippi for a year, and a lot of our children treated like 13th grade, and they flunk out because they think it's high school. College.
Exactly. Right.
Professors.
Right.
Who are like, every professor has their own set of rules, how they govern their classrooms. And it's not like Mrs. Such and Such in biology when you was in high school, where she was kind of lenient when you came in 5 minutes late. No, some professors lock the door at 9 o'clock.
Exactly right. Exactly right.
You get in at 9:05 and you mad at them. So it doesn't work that way. Pellissippi ain't no cakewalk. So,
exactly.
But a lot of our kids are behind academically. You have to realize that, look, I didn't get everything I needed. And so I do have to go to a 2-year school with smaller classrooms. They have a lot of tutoring, and they have a lot of things to assist you.
Yes.
So.
Yes, they do. Yeah, and we have to, and that's the beauty, I think, of SMART is that, not only, I think people look at it as an after school program, so they may look at it as maybe it is just a babysitting service like most of the the after school programs. But no, we're intentional in trying to help both the parents and the students to break generational cycles and be prepared. And we promote, they came up with the motto, and we have not changed it. When we first started, we said we want a student motto. So we had everybody to write down, why are you here? Don't say cause mama made me come or I want to play, but be serious. Why do you come? And so I'll never forget Kelly Jolly took it upon herself to put it all together. She worked with us for several years. She became healed, and then she just kind of transitioned and started doing some other things. But she was awesome, not just in the music department part of it, but she loved the kids, and so she was helping them, talking to them. And so she compiled all of that. And it came up with, we come to be inspired, we work to be empowered, and we strive to be prepared for life. We are SMART Institute. And so we would chant that. And our creative expressions class with Felicia Utsi, she would got a beat. And so we had a beat, and we be rocking our beat every day and saying that and internalizing it. Because, you speak stuff out. It's power. Your words are powerful. And so we speak them, and we said that, and we ingrain that. And then, so we promote it. It's like, why did you come today? Are you working really to be empowered today? With these actions that you have, and we have to sit them down and work with them, because many of our kids, when they go home, there's not really an adult there that's asking them about their day.
Yeah.
They're taking care of themselves. Yep. So for us to say, how was your day? What's going on? Calling them, and they can call us. It's truly become a ministry. And my had a high school classmate that reminded me. She said, "You're just carrying on the legacy of what your parents did."
That's
I
right.
Never looked at it like that.
Yeah, that's right.
Never looked at it, that way. But
Now, what are some of the practical things parents can do? Those parents that are listening and want their kid to excel. What are some of the things they can do at home on the weekends to help their child?
You need to talk to them. You need to let them know, I care about you. I love you. I'm here for you. And have that open dialogue of what's going on. You want that kid to just feel like when they see you, hey, mom, dad, grandma, whoever it is, this is what we did today. This, it was great. Or, man, my day was awful. This happened, that happened. Because it's so much going on in these kids' minds, and they need to release it. They need to have a soundboard to get it off, so that they won't, depression won't set in. They won't be so anxious, and that mental health part of it has got to be good. And it's just good for the families to be able to just, it don't have to be all night. It don't have to be 30 minutes or an hour, but just some time to have that connection and that bond. Helping them with their, looking at their homework, trying to see, is this something that you can help them with, or you can get them some help, for it. Our kids need to read. They need to read, and they need to read some more, and they need to read some more after that. I tell my kids all the time, your eyes get trained. The more you read, your eyes get trained. You can read faster, because they're saying, well, on the ACT, I never finish because I don't get that far. And I said, because you're not reading enough. You've got to read to comprehend. I said, I don't care what it is that you read. Find something you like, pick it up, and start to read. The more you read, the more you'll like to read. You will then be able to comprehend more, and the confidence builds. Man, I read something and I was able to tell about it or answer a question about it. And set up scenarios. You may just don't want to. Here's that book you're supposed to read for 20 minutes. Read with them. Have them read to you. Find something exciting and creative that you can do that's around reading, that's around math, basic math. Kids say, ooh, they had a sale. It was 10% off. I said, okay, is that really a sale? Well, yeah, it's 10% off. Well, what is 10% off of a number? Well, I don't know. Where's the calculator? No, you ought to be able to do some mental math. You don't need a calculator for that. Teaching them those basic skills and exposing them. Take them to the library.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a lot of free stuff that you don't, you can just do. You can go to the park and maybe read or interact or play some games that are going to enhance and improve and enrich their reading and their writing and their communication skills. But we got to be a part. We got to let our kids know we love you, we're here for you. Try to expose them, get them into programs like ours so that they can be enriched. Because if we don't, the streets are ready for them. The streets are ready. So you do have to take initiative, and you have to be intentional as a parent or a guardian about doing these things, and not just saying, well, that's what school's for, or that's what this is for. No, you need to know what's going on in your kids' lives, and then being an asset and that added extra, and whatever that means, for your family. We got to do it.
I tell parents, I say, you are the number one educators of your child. You have that child is with you. A teacher will be in a child's life for a few months, one teacher. I said, but you are there every year. And even if you're not there, your child is craving for your attention. So whether you're there present or you're not present, you still educating them on what to do and what not to do. And so you have to take that manner. I mean, schools, A1 Learning Center, Unique Cat, we are supplements. We're support groups. We're not the main cog in the wheel. It's the parents, grandparents, the uncles, whoever raising that child. And it doesn't matter what you know in your head, or what grade you passed or what degree you have or not. If you have determination, I put it like this. I do a parent orientation at Fair Garden primary preschool. Every they call me every August, and I tell parents, first thing I do, I ask a parent, if I had your child, kidnap your child, and told you to get $2,500 in the next 24 hours, what would you do as a parent? Most parents would say, I get that money. I said, well, that's how I view education, life and death. Just imagine somebody got your child hostage held hostage, and it's up to you to save them. Well, that's the
Right.
thing. I don't care what age, and a lot of parents give me the excuse, well, I can't do anything with him. He lives with you. She lives with you. Yes, you can do something.
Yes,
You might have to change your methods. And if you don't know, ask. It's too many
Yes.
resources in the United States for people not to know.
Exactly
If your
right.
area doesn't have it, go to another area. It's unfortunate that it was a lady in Ohio, I'm pretty sure you heard about it, who used somebody else's address to have a kid go to another school, and they incarcerated her. But that's the kind of determination you got to have.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I hated the fact that she got incarcerated. I think that's some foolishness, but I admire that mom for willing to
do whatever she felt she needed to do.
Yes. That's what we gotta have for our kids, man. And especially in Knoxville, there's too many great programs for our children. Like I applaud you, and I wish, and hopefully in the future, that your type of template can be duplicated in various schools. I know your grant in that particular thing says, okay, you got to be here, but I don't see a lot of that going on in what you're doing after school. I think it's more prevalent now than when you started. I'm pretty sure when you started in 2010, with a lot of after school care focusing on that. And I know there's some big entities that are doing it, but I just think that for me, that nobody can teach a black child better than a black person.
Amen.
Amen. I can't go to Korea and teach Korean children. It take me, I have to learn the culture, the language, the ways, the norms. They got to get familiar with me, and that take a period of years. And I still got to have somebody, a Korean, right beside me every step of the way. And so I hate the fact that so many of our people think that other folks think that they can come and teach our children. I'm just sorry. I just think what you're offering is too valuable to not be duplicated, and people come under you and say, let me learn under you, as opposed to let me take over.
And I would love to do that, and I'm going to have to get some assistance in that, because that's one of those areas where I do need somebody else to come in and to be with me and work and help to push toward that, because being the director and then expanding in the 3 areas that I have, even in the summers when I say, okay, I'm going to take a couple of weeks and that's what I'm going to focus on, I may get started and I stop. And I would just love, that's one of the things that I've really been praying for 2020, is to have that person or people to come and say, hey, let me help you package this so that it can go elsewhere, and we can be able to help even more people, because we see it all the time. And I just remember my mom as a little girl, when she had some parents, and she would say, it is not enough to fill the bellies of your children. You got to fill their minds with knowledge. It is not enough for you to change their diapers. You got to change those negative situations that you're telling me about that you're in. And so if we could just then keep telling and keep helping to provide the resources for our parents, just to say, you know what, it's not enough for you to have these kids in your home and feed them and clothe them and have them looking good. They've got to have some knowledge, and they've got to have some goals, and we've got to be helping them to get through those goals and jump over those hurdles and go left, right, underneath, or over, in order to meet the goals that they have. And that's when you talk about the struggles, that's kind of one of the struggles. That's why I always said I would love to have a boarding school where the kids could only go home twice a year. And you just and they gotta want to come, and of course the parents have got to want them to be a part of that. But when I have them for 2.5, 3 hours, and they're on that track for me, that 2.5 and 3 hours, and then they go home, and it's a whole new set of rules, ball game, and then I get them back, and then you can kind of tell, you can't continue to go full steam ahead with the number of kids that you want to do. yeah, you're gonna have those twos and threes that they're gonna do it. It's regardless. It's just gonna happen. But
and I'm gonna tell
we
you, I'm
have
gonna be
to stay
honest
on the
with you.
line.
I think also, like we was talking about, like with the children at East Knoxville, I think the problem, like we was talking about the ACT, and what I found out that there's a citywide, countywide struggle with the reading and math. I know
Yes.
kids make great
Yes.
grades, and it's crazy how a lot of in the schools, our schools doesn't parallel to a lot of what the collegiate and the world has. Seem like their model is still old.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
when the kids take these tests, they can't do well. But number one, because I'm telling you, from West Knoxville, South Knoxville, North Knoxville, our kids are struggling with reading. They make great grades. Some of them do.
Yes.
But
Yeah,
when it
that's
comes to
true.
that particular test, they don't do well because the reading is not there. That
Right.
fluency, the math is not
Right.
fluent in, the basics of math, the integers, fractions, and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
A lot of our
Right.
kids have struggled with multiplying, let alone fractions, percentages, and probabilities and all that.
Yes. Yes.
So
Yes.
it's a countywide problem. What do you think? One last question: what do you think that the Knox County or school systems can do to enhance that? Since you've been inside of it and you're outside of the schools, but you're working in the schools. What are some of the things they can do better? You think they can do better to help our children?
I feel like some type of bridge programs, and I know they've had some in the past. When you're going from elementary to middle school, you're looking at, if I'm an elementary school student, if I'm in the 5th grade and I'm about to go to middle school, you know what is going to be required in middle school, what the 6th grade is like. What type of bridging programs can we have during the school year to help to enhance? And I know they have lots of types of intervention type of classes that the kids are supposed to be able to go to, and I'm not sure how effective they have been overall as a higher percentage of helping. They help some kids, but effectively overall, how has that really impacted? But when a kid leaves elementary school and goes to middle school and they're behind in reading, it is hard to get them back on, especially if it's more than one grade level.
Yeah.
So at that point, can some of that money be invested into some type of, not necessarily say a summer school that I failed and I'm trying to pass so I can go on to the next grade.
Yeah.
But I think a little bit more of that. And then can part of that be stuff that they can do at home? I just feel like at home in the summers is where we lose a lot of traction. So if there could be some type of app that could be put on a phone, or that may not necessarily, you may not necessarily have to have the internet to use it to be able to, to help with that. Because we got to be intentional. They've got to be, more intentional. And I think it's so much that is required from our teachers, from a paperwork evaluation.
Yeah.
Got to teach this standard, got to master this and that you're focused in on that so much, and you really lose, to me, the primary reason that you need to be there as the teacher. And then on top of that, you have so many deficits.
Yeah.
So that it would have to be something that would need to be done bridge wise. If some of it could be done during the school, during the summers, during breaks, to be able to help, especially in the English and the math, with that. And we've got to make sure that we have people who are in our schools for the right reasons to really help our kids. And I don't even know how you even found that out before they even come, because I mean, if you're there to get a student loan debt paid because you can work in the inner city you know, some of those teachers come and they be great teachers, and they're able to really do and provide what we need. And then some of them, the struggle is real because they don't really realize what they're getting themselves into. They don't realize the culture. They don't realize what is there for them to help to improve on. And then they may leave. And then you having to fill in the gap of getting another sub in there or getting another teacher in there. But we really gotta, and the schools, again, can offer a lot of stuff, but the kids have got to want to do it and want to take advantage of it and participate, and be able to participate in it. So that's what I see. Okay. From my thing is bridging those gaps, from elementary to middle to high, and then even trying to prepare our high school students to go to post-secondary education. Yeah. Not just a program or some camp, but it has really got to be specific to the needs of our reading, our writing, and our math, those subject areas.
Yeah, I agree with you wholeheartedly. I think it's got to be a culture shift with our community too, because you said it earlier. Sports is like a religion, man. It's like you cannot. It's too many of our children, and I get beat up a lot. I don't care. I got big shoulders. I can take it because I'm to the point where I want geniuses. We got enough athletes.
Yes.
If we look at it as a community, what is that we need versus what we want? We don't need any more basketball, football players. But we do need engineers, doctors, plumbers, carpenters. We need computer programmers. You know, we're facing a crisis in America because even in the trades, if you look at a lot of, I have a black plumber, I know an electrician, even white ones, they older. In 15 years, they're going to be retired or dead.
Right.
So where are the young people replacing them at? Black ones in particular. I know white ones, but I'm talking about black kids replacing these essential skills that we need for our home. Everybody can't cut hair. Sorry, everybody can't do hair. You know, we oversaturated in that too. So we do need all these other areas, but parents, and it's funny how, like with your program, my program, and other programs, they don't have money for that stuff. But some of these parents pay thousands of dollars for their kid to play AAU. Or they travel all summer.
Traveling around,
I'm sitting there like, your kid can't read. I don't care. You know, that should be that is the importance. If your child can't read in America, it's going to be hard for him to function and thrive.
That's right.
And
so, I'm not against student athletes, but I feel like this because I was a student athlete.
I was too. Yeah.
So but student was first.
Yep.
And you kept those grades up, and the schools helped in making sure that those grades were up. And, you know, with the rules now, you know, you're not supposed to play and with a certain, you know, grade point average, but it's usually like the semester before. It's not necessarily what's going on right then. But when your whole focus is sports, and they're missing, you know, opportunities, educational opportunities, because they're going to go here and there, then I do have a problem with that, because at some point that basketball or soccer or football is going to be over for them. And then what? Now you're trying to play catch up.
And don't call us in the senior year. I get so many phone calls of seniors trying to get the ACT score up. Like this Christmas break, people calling me, can you offer something now? It's like, no, my classes are at a certain time, and I prefer not to have a senior. It's too late.
Yeah, it's hard for them. It's a lot of pressure put upon them, but that's what happens. They find a light bulb finally comes on to say, "Ooh, I need a higher ACT score so I can get into this school, or I can get more money, scholarship money, or whatever." And you know, like I tell them, I can't work miracles. I mean, to me, it's a process, and you just can't. I can't give you a class or two and guarantee that you're gonna improve 2 or 3 points.
No,
you know, it doesn't work that. You know, it doesn't work that way. But we have to keep pushing. We have to keep encouraging. You know, even some days you feel like knocking, beating up your head, going, "Oh my God, what a day this was! This was a crazy day." But you know, they're few and far between. You see the fruit of your labor, and I just thank God for changing my career for a lot of reasons. You know, I tell people all the time, financially, I would have been in a better place right now if I would have stayed at Oak Ridge. I probably would have been retired on the beach somewhere, not thinking about anybody, you know, and anybody's kids. But right here, right now, I wouldn't want to be in any other place. I tell people I haven't missed a meal, haven't missed a bill, and I can see the fruit of my labor, you know, as things, you know, progress. Whereas in a lab, hey, you analyze something, it come out right, wrong, indifferent. You don't know where it goes. You know, I'm sure it helps something somewhere, but this is hands-on, boots on the ground, and you can see where the positive impact is made. So I'm grateful.
Well, I thank you for your time, your effort, your energy, your friendship, your ear.
Yes. Yes, and I got to give a shout out to you, Reggie, because man, you've been on the grind. You don't ever give up. You believe in what you believe. You go forward in it. You're not ashamed to you know, voice your opinion and try to help. And we need that. We need that, and especially for our Black males. That's your focus. I know you do some conferences for girls, for women, and the parent thing, but keep grinding. We got to keep encouraging each other, and just keep making that positive impact that we're doing, because I appreciate you, and I appreciate you calling sometimes. Hey, we got to keep going, you know, the encouragement, because we got to do that for each other.
Nonprofits, and you're in a nonprofit area, it's not a competition, it's a collaboration.
It's not.
We
It
cannot look at each other as competitors. We are
right.
No matter we serving the same kids. My kid can come to your program, your kid can come. It's a choir. You gotta focus you gotta operate like a choir. That's the best analogy I can come up with.
That's a good analogy.
As a solo artist, you sound good, but there ain't nothing powerful as a choir.
It's a choir, right?
You know, a choir singing and going in one direction, we can make impact. So, do you have any last words you want to wrap up with? Anything? Put your contact, what you're doing, your website, and all that kind of stuff.
Yes. Again, I'm Laschinski Emerson. I am the founder and director of A1 Learning Connections, which is the Smart Institute. We're in East Knoxville, looking to expand. We have after-school classes that really help. We're looking to help the whole child. So yes, we tutor, yes, we do homework, but we have sewing, we have chess. Cool. You do interact. We have a STEM program. You just need to come and check us out. I can't even name them all, but I'm sure that there is a class. And then we have our parent part, because we're a 2-generational after-school program and nonprofit. So we're a1learningconnections.com. www.a1learningconnections.com is our website. We are on Facebook, the Smart Institute, so we try to update that page. And if you need to contact me, I am at 865-384-4048. We are here to try to help parents and students be triumphant in the world of tomorrow with the motto of excellence without excuses. And Reggie, I thank you.
Well, thank you. And thank you to listening and viewing audience. This has been another episode of Unique Connections. Please subscribe and hit that like button and hit the little bell so you can be notified for our next episode. Till the next time, everybody have a great day. Visit our website as well, www.uniqueacademy.org. Take care.